So now we are going to work using Unreal Engine 4, and for that Unreal is created by Epic Games, if you don't know. So you're gonna go and look for your Epic Games launcher. If you're gonna do it at home, of course you need to go and download the Epic Games launcher, and through that I'm gonna open it up here. My Epic Games launcher opens up. For the first time actually you're gonna get just try here. You're gonna get a login account. It's gonna ask you to create an account. You can create your personal account, that's fine. Or if you're gonna you could use your own account, or you could use our MTSU account, which is this one, emc.eng at mtsu.edu, password blue 3 raiders, and then the mission point. So that way you can go and install your Unreal Engine. We are using Unreal Engine 4.27 1.1. We are not using Unreal Engine 5 just yet. So if you're using the one on campus, of course, after you log in, you'll be able to use this engine, which is already installed on the computers. At this moment, I'm going to just simply launch the engine. And I'm going to, in order to import my assets here, I'm going to need to create a project for it. It's going to give me a moment here for it to happen. You click on once and it should be in the background reading it, so don't despair if it takes a little while to do it. It needs a few moments for it to launch the program. It's a big program. So just clicking there, just holding for a moment, you'll be able to do it. Alright, so here is my next screen after the program has launched. Here I have the top projects that I have already created. I unfortunately had to go back and redo this because my video failed, but I have already created a prior project, so when you launch it, you won't see something like that. You'll see just these bottom options. And at this point, what you're gonna do is just simply go and click on, we're gonna use the preset for games, which will give us some of the characteristics for it. And here we're gonna just go and pick and the next option, we're gonna just stay with blank. You can see a bunch of templates here for different type of games that you could work from, which should be pretty cool. But we're gonna stick with blank for this first part. This is a template that we're using for only texturing our toy, not for creating a video game. So you're gonna create a blank. We're gonna go next. So here the project settings allow me to choose a blueprint if I want to use C++ or keep it as it is. I'm gonna just say that yes. I'm gonna try to say maximum quality is good. And the real-time ray tracing should be enabled in a new project. I honestly don't plan to. This is not the final delivery of my project, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it as a desktop console. I'm going to do it kind of like a game for a computer. And here I'm going to just start with no starter content. That way my project is clean and empty, and I'm going to save it to my folder. So I'm going to go under my folder under the W drive. This is my personal folder. It's not the project that we're going to share all together. I have in my final project folder an Unreal project folder. I'm going to just say select that folder. And I'm gonna call my project toy texturing. That way next time I open up that, I know that is my project. So I'm gonna create that, and you can see my project being created there. Now Unreal is creating a number of folders in there, and you can see here my Unreal space. I'm not going to give you a class of Unreal really, because there's a lot of stuff in it and I don't know many of the things. But what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna bring in our assets, and we're gonna start creating it. Right now you can see in our there's a content folder at the bottom that you can start populating with content. We have kind of like what would be the list of assets Right now there is atmospheric fog and floor and light source and player starts and stuff. So there are some little things there in the actual assets of the game and some kind of pre-created assets for you to work with, lights and all of that. So on the top there are some other icons for you to manipulate some of the things that you need to use. I'm trying to see if we can get rid of that little message there. All right. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to bring in my toy, and I'm going to bring in my my textures so I can start connecting them. So right now, as they are, you see that inside of my texturing project, the one that I just created for Unreal, you can open up the sequence, the
folder here. So here I'm inside my final project, Unreal project. This is my project, my toy texturing. Unreal created all these files, all these folders. So I'm going to go back up and I'm going to look for, first of all, my robot animation, the FVX that we created. So I'm going to just copy that and I'm going to go to the Unreal project folder and I'm going to just paste it in the content section, right there. Then I'm going to go back up again. I'm going to go and look for my textures, the one that came from Substance. I'm sorry, I'm just going to find it here. It's from Substance to Unreal Textures. Here they are, all of them. A lot of textures. I'm just going to go, I'm going to grab that folder and copy it. And I'm going to go again to my Unreal project under the content section. I'm going to paste that. So both assets got there. I'm going to go back to my Unreal Engine now. And I'm going to dismiss this thing here. I'm going to go under my content section here. Hopefully it'll show up there. Normally they will ask you if you want to import them. There's a little pop-up that comes up, but it's not doing it. So what I'll do here is when I just grab those files, I'm going to drop them in here from my folder here. I'm going to grab, starting with my animation file, and then it's importing it right there. Let me just move this one to the side here for a moment. And you can see that this little is importing animation right there. So what is it asking me? It's asking me if it's going to bring the skeletal mesh, which is of course recognizing there is a rig in it. And if I want to import the mesh, of course, the animation, you can see the skeleton right there, supposedly being selected. I'm going to import animations, make sure that they're checked on. That way they come with it. And after that, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to say import all. So hopefully that comes in, and you see here my animated toy with all its assets there, all its shaders. These are, remember, the shaders that we created before we went to Substance. You can see all of the shaders are connected to each one of the parts of the rig. Now I'm going to go and grab my the folder that contains all of my Substance textures. I'm going to just grab them and dump them here. And again, now it's importing them all. Right, it's asking you if you want to okay them all, so you don't have to go and just okay, it's asking you want to import it. So I'm going to say okay. Ooh, then maybe just fade it away all the way. Okay, I should have said okay, but they are all imported hopefully. So I'm going to now you see here I'm inside of my Substance Unreal, so I have my content folder which has my assets, and I have my Substance to Unreal textures, right? And you can see them all individually here. So if I go back to my content here, if you double click on one of these guys here, you'll get to see the actual model, right? So you can actually look at the head and the different parts that it comes with. So
and you can see the connection with the textures there. I'm not going to change it there. Actually going to change texture by texture here manually. So because all of these are connected to my model that it's there. I also have an animation, hopefully, that'll show me. Here's my animation file. As you can see him there animated, very tiny. He's floating in space, and you can see the animation happening right there. So which is great. And there is of course another file. There's a physics file. This one is used for the collisions of the toy against the world and all that. So we're gonna just leave it as is. We're not gonna change that. There is and the skeleton that it uses, and of course additional shaders that come from the whole model. So just make sure that you have the three files related to your model and the one file animated to rig. So I'm going to open up one by one of these guys. I'm going to start connecting things. When you double click on this, there is a node base creation here, or shader better, that allows you to connect. I'm going to go this way. Allows you to connect the different shaders to, or the different textures to your main shader. There is an antenna shader right here, and this is of course my antenna. That's why we name it that. So we're going to bring in here the textures that came from Substance that will connect to the specific nodes there. So try to get into that folder. I'm going to look for my antenna parts. So we'll see if I can find them here. Oh, you know what? I actually have to correct here, because this is no, actually this is correct. This is the right. I'm going to be confused. I thought I had a different texture, but I do have the right ones. So let me scroll down. I'm going to go for my antenna. I have the wheel here. Some of them are like occlusion for the ear, cover, light, arm. Getting there. Seems to me that the antenna, this is the hand, helmet, antenna, they were right on the top. So I have, this one is a base color, so I'm gonna grab that one. This is the antenna normal map, and this is the antenna that this is the one that has occlusion, roughness, and metallic. Remember, we exported a pack for Unreal, so we'll use that one. This one is for the body already, so I'm gonna grab these three files, shift on my keyboard, grab them and put them here. And those three files are going to be used for connecting to my guys. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna just, this is the color, right? This is going to be my normal map, and this is the one that has my my three occlusion, roughness, and metallic. So let me see if I can just zoom out here. I'm gonna open up my window there a bit more. If you have a tool screen, that might make it a lot easier for you to work. All right, so here is I'm trying to move around here a little bit better. All right, so this one a little bit better this way. This one I'm going to delete. I don't need that yellow connection there, because actually this guy is the one that is going to provide, this is the color texture, the one that I'm going to provide the color information. So I'm going to grab from the RGB to the base color, so that way my object receives the coloring that I painted in Substance. The second one here, which is my normal map, if you're unsure about it, just right, you can see, look at it here, shows a little bit different there, and it's using that as an RGB, and I'm simply going to connect it from RGB to normal, so that hopefully will give me a little bit of bump, a little bit of kind of sort of displacement effect. It's not heavy, And these three guys are going to be used for remember with this one we said was the occlusion, the roughness, and the mechanic. So we're gonna go and connect each one of the channels, the RGB, to a different ones. When I start from the bottom up, I'm gonna start with a B, mix it into the metallic. The green makes it into roughness, and R makes it into ambient occlusion. So that hopefully gets your object to look the way you texture it in Substance. I'm gonna just here I need to simply apply. That way it'll apply to any asset that has that thing. I'm gonna save. That way my texture got saved. So I'm gonna go close it. I'm gonna go back out here. And now if I look at my model, hopefully I can bring it out here and look at it in the game. Let me see if you can see right there. If you press F, you should frame it. Ooh, it is doing it there. Now there is a problem with the let me see if I can get this a bit better. It feels very shiny. I'm not getting too close on it, so I'm having a hard time looking at it. Let's see if I can use my mouse a bit backwards. It's very shiny. It's almost like wet. So I'm gonna correct that. So if I go back to my material here, we are dealing with a few things there that different nodes that make it trying to get a bit better in terms of manipulating this. Trying to manipulate my object here. So these guys, we try to make the window a bit larger. Each one of these nodes is providing information, and this one is providing information about the metalness and the roughness of my object. My object right now here, you can see sort of that wetness that it shows right there when you try to look at it. It's not supposed to be like that. And what's happening is that this node here needs to be modified, and this the sampler type of color that you're using actually is not straight color. It has to be linear color, and what that means is that it's going to use the color as it comes by default. That kind of breaks it. So I'm gonna go and open up on the texture here. I'm actually open up here, so I can look at the texture there. And the texture, I'm going to say that do not use sRGB, just simply use regular RGB. That way it should, I'm going to save that, it should refresh. I'm saying yes, apply that to the object. So I'm going to say continue. So now you refreshed, and then it looks shiny, but it's not as shiny as it was before. You can look at it again here, and you can see now the material. Yes, it has a bit of shine, but it's a little bit less. Let's try doing another one just to continue. Let's do the helmet. So let me find the helmet here, and same thing. So we're gonna have our delete the color that we have here. I'm gonna go back and find the helmet texture. Let me just move this one out of the way for a moment here, and there is a helmet. So I'm gonna grab those three. I'm gonna apply them there.
So same thing, I'm just gonna move these guys out of the way here, and then start connecting the first one, which is the color, to the base color. The RGBA, the normal goes to the normal, that way you maintain a little bit of the bump that it has, and you can look at it right there. And I'm going to connect here. Then the blue goes to the metallic, the green goes to the roughness, and the R goes to the ambient occlusion. Right, and again we open up, click on this guy, change it to color, linear color. Give me an error there, so I need to open it up now and just change this, uncheck sRGB. Hopefully that'll do it. I'm just gonna save that. I'll just close it. So it's asking me, so say yes. The current material has error, compilations will not render correctly if the feature levels is okay. So I'm gonna say, I'm sure it's continue. So it gives me a little error there, but it's not really. Try to get a bit closer here. It always drives me a little bit. My mouse is opposite to the way it works in Maya, so I'm trying to move it always to the wrong location. So I can see that being applied to my guy. So I have him there. I'm gonna try to do them all, and I'll get you. We'll get all of them together. So let me just pause my video. I'm gonna go through all of them very quickly, and then we kind of compile it all together. Alright, so here I went to and applied all of them. The only thing that I made different in one of them is that my light shader, I went under the light and created actually open up in Photoshop the color layer, the color texture, and painted on top of it where I want to have a little bit of highlight. I painted a little bit of yellow, saved it as a new file, called it an emissive. I could have done that in Substance. So if you did an emissive channel in Substance, that will show up here. So I brought it back in here. That extra emissive texture, which is here, which came from Photoshop, connected to the emission section here, emissive color. That makes it a bit more glowy if I want it to be like the way I want it there. So with that, I'm almost ready to export out my guy, and we'll do that in the next video.